Welcome to Liddit!
My hometown of Lidditz, located in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, has a lot of small-town charm and appeal. It has a population of just under 10,000 people, and it was dubbed America's coolest small town in 2013, beating out Watkins Glen, New York, a formidable opponent. In 1742, Moravian Bishop Count Nicholas von Zinzendorf settled in the area, and then on June 26, 1756, the town was officially named Lidditz in commemoration of the Bohemian castle Lidice. Alright, come with me as we take a tour through America's coolest small town. The focal point of Lidditz is Church Square, located on Main Street. On the far left is the Mary Dixon Memorial Chapel, then it's the Gemein House, then the Sisters House, then it's the Moravian Church, then the Brothers House. The Mary Dixon Memorial Chapel is part of the Linden Hall complex. Mary Dixon attended Linden Hall School for Girls and shortly after graduating died of tuberculosis, and so it was built in commemoration of her. Linden Hall is the oldest girls' boarding school in the country, founded in 1746. As we make our way up toward the Moravian Church, to the right of the chapel is the Gemein House, which was modeled after some of the architecture found in Bohemia, where the Moravians were from. That has administrative offices for the Linden Hall School. To the right of that is the Sisters House, where the Moravian women lived. There's a Moravian church itself, and just to the left of that, adjoined to that, is the parsonage where the pastor would live. To the right of the church is the Brothers House, where the men lived. An interesting fact about the Brothers House is that it was used as a hospital during the Revolutionary War, and George Washington himself actually paid a visit here. On the right side of Church Square is the Moravian Archives, which houses a bunch of artifacts and old relics. Behind the church is the Corpse House, where the bodies would be prepared before being interred. Next is the Moravian Cemetery, and in the archway there's the words written in German, Selig sind die Toten, die in den Herrn sterben, which means blessed are the dead that die in the Lord. So first is God's Acre, which is the oldest section of the cemetery, and that's where the women would be buried on the left side and the men on the right side. Notice that all the stones are flat and equal size because they deemed everyone as being equal. So next up was John Sutter's grave. He was born in Germany and then moved to Sacramento, California. And apparently what happened was people found gold in his land, and for one reason or another, they laid claim to it, and he went to Washington, D.C. to petition to get it back, and it didn't work out for him. So he basically just retired here in Lidditz. Crossing the Church Square is the Julius Sturgis Pretzel Bakery, which is the location of America's first commercial pretzel bakery. A popular photo op spot is the giant pretzel out front. A lot of people like to get their picture taken there. Julius Sturgis established the bakery in 1861. It no longer serves as an actual bakery. They offered guided tours giving a whole history, and people can actually learn to twist a pretzel, and they also sell pretzels, but they don't actually still make pretzels on site. Going back to Moravian Cemetery, there's the stable grounds of Linden Hall in the back, where girls learn to ride horses, and then here is the grave of Julius Sturgis. He's buried with his second wife. He remarried after his first wife died. Both were named Sarah. And aside of them is one of their daughters, another Sarah. Lots of Sarahs in the family. And aside of her is Julius Jr. They had a lot of other children. A lot of them are buried in the same cemetery. Making our way down the street from the pretzel bakery is the Lidditz Museum, and aside of that is the Johannes Mueller House. And they offer guided tours and give a detailed history of Lidditz and the Moravians. And then the Mueller House itself, it's an authentic Lidditz house with a lot of original furnishings. Alright, making our way down Main Street. It's a nice view of the street. There's a lot of different stores, shops, boutiques, restaurants. Just love the historic aspect of Lidditz. One thing I don't love is the construction. Here's the Bull's Head Public House. This is one of the many restaurants you can eat at. There's a view of the former General Sutter Hotel, now called the Lidditz Springs Hotel. And here's our square. A nice fountain and a beautiful backdrop of construction. Next we'll turn right on Broad Street, and there's a view of the former Wilbur Chocolate Company, which was recently converted into a hotel. And here's the entrance to Lidditz Springs Park, one of my favorite places to visit. Beside of the chocolate factory is the reconstruction of the train station, which now serves as a visitor center. Here's a pond where the ducks like to hang. There's ducks all over the park. I used to come here all the time as a kid to feed the ducks. The ducks seem to love coming here too. There's a gazebo. Different bands come here throughout the spring and summer and perform. As you can see, there are lots and lots of ducks. Here's another view of the gazebo. And even more ducks. We're making our way down to the actual springs. There are a few pavilions where different groups can have picnics. And you can see the wooden beams there along the stream. In the 4th of July, Lidditz has the oldest continuously running 4th of July celebration. And they're setting up. What happens is they place these beams all along the stream and they put candles. And it's a sight to behold. You have to see it. And we're approaching the band show. This is where a lot of groups perform, and where the main festivities occur during the 4th of July celebration. Alright, here we are at the springs. As you can see, there's more ducks swimming around. Bunch of springs, mini springs in the back where the water comes from, and then it bubbles out there at that circular fixture. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. Water's always nice and cold coming out of there. Nice and dark back there. The biggest of the 4 springs, there's a grate obviously so people don't fall in. And there's a German inscription that says Gottes Brunnlein hat Wasser die Fülle, which means God's little fountain has water that fills. Eventually we'll make our way up the steps, and there's a lion head sculpture that was unfortunately vandalized. So then they chipped in money and they got a replacement, a full body lion sculpture. It resembles the one in Luzern, Switzerland. I was actually there, so it was cool seeing the two. There's another pavilion, and then another. There used to be a cabin, but they tore it down, made a pavilion. Here's the top, looking down. It's very picturesque, I think. You can see the entire park from this vantage point. On the 4th of July, it's literally wall-to-wall people. It's insane, but at nighttime when all the candles are lit, it's just so beautiful. They light the candles and then they set off the fireworks to like music. It's so cool. Here's a caboose, and it says Reading because the Reading Railroad used to go through here. It used to be called the Reading Columbia Railroad. Back in the day, you could hop on the train and go between those places. The train station serves as a visitor center. The original one was torn down, but then in 1999, a replica was built there. There's the former Wilbur chocolate factory. Wilbur still makes chocolate, but in other locations, and so they converted the brick building into a hotel. Ironically, the windows used to be bricked in, and then now they're back to being windows again. There's still like a visitor center and store across the street from the factory if you want to get your fix on chocolate. Here's our final shot of the its.
Hope you enjoyed my tour. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. This is Stalkaz. See ya!